China's depopulation. Is it really a problem? By Azlan Adnan, M.A. The term demographic crisis has come to define recent global discourse surrounding China's shrinking population, with the world's second-largest economy experiencing its first population decline in 6 decades, and fertility rates plummeting to levels even below those of Japan or South Korea. Alarm bells have rung across think tanks and boardrooms alike. But is China's depopulation necessarily a problem? Or could it be, paradoxically, a moment of strategic opportunity in disguise? The numbers: a shrinking nation. China's total population began declining officially in 2022. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the population dropped by over 2 million people in 2023, a trend expected to accelerate throughout the coming decades. The fertility rate has now sunk to about 1.0, far below the replacement level of 2.1. The median age is climbing fast, with projections indicating that by 2050, over 30% of China's population will be above the age of 60. This depopulation has its roots in the legacy of the now-defunct one-child policy, 1979 to 2015, rapid urbanization, rising education and career aspirations, especially among women, high costs of child rearing, and changing cultural attitudes toward marriage and family life. Even with government incentives such as tax breaks, childcare subsidies, and official messaging urging larger families, China's birth rate continues to decline. The standard view: a looming crisis. Orthodox economic thinking views demographic contraction as an existential threat. Fewer people mean fewer workers and, by extension, lower economic growth. An aging population means increased pension and healthcare burdens, a higher dependency ratio, and shrinking consumer demand for sectors reliant on youth spending, such as housing, education, and electronics. In manufacturing, the shrinking workforce poses challenges to productivity and output. Fewer working-age people could mean labor shortages, higher wages, and a loss of competitiveness in labor-intensive industries. This has fueled Western narratives of peak China, the idea that China's best days are behind it, and demographic decline will stymie its ambitions to surpass the United States as the world's preeminent power. Rethinking the narrative: demographic decline as opportunity. Yet this view may be overly simplistic. Demographic shrinkage does not axiomatically mean economic decline. Japan's economy, for instance, has remained stable despite a decades-long demographic contraction. What matters is not just the quantity of people, but how productively they are engaged. First, China's labor force is not shrinking as rapidly as feared. The country has immense untapped human capital in the form of underemployed rural workers, early retirees, and older adults still capable of work. Structural reforms, such as raising the retirement age, currently 60 for men and 55 for women, retraining workers for new industries, and reducing barriers to internal migration, can help mobilize this labor reserve. Second, depopulation may push China toward qualitative growth. With fewer people, the emphasis naturally shifts from high-speed, low-cost mass production to high-value innovation, productivity, and technological sophistication. Indeed, China is already leading in fields such as green energy, fintech, AI, and quantum computing. A smaller but more educated and skilled population could deliver sustainable, knowledge-driven growth. Third, a smaller population could ease environmental and resource pressures. China's per capita arable land, water, and energy resources are among the lowest globally. Population stabilization could make ecological modernization, a key plank of Xi Jinping's ecological civilization vision, more feasible. Urbanization and the silver economy. China's cities, long the engines of growth, are undergoing a transformation. Megacities such as Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen are becoming saturated, while second-tier and inland cities are modernizing and absorbing population inflows. With urbanization rates nearing 65%, the focus is shifting from building to sustaining cities, improving infrastructure, livability, and digital services. A shrinking, aging population also creates new markets. The silver economy, goods and services catering to the elderly, is expected to reach over $5 trillion by 2030. Elder care, medical technology, accessible housing, and age-friendly transport represent new frontiers for growth. With digital-savvy retirees, even e-commerce and financial services are being reshaped. Global strategy: de-risking or repositioning. From a geopolitical standpoint, depopulation may reduce China's appetite for risk. Countries with aging populations tend to be more cautious, but it may also drive innovation in labor-saving technologies, robotics, AI, automation, and spur outbound investment as Chinese firms seek markets abroad to offset domestic stagnation. Moreover, with a smaller population, China may experience reduced pressure on food security and resource imports, bolstering its long-term resilience. A lower growth rate may also allow for a shift away from GDP centrism toward well-being metrics and quality of life indices. Conclusion: not the end, but a new beginning. China's population decline is undeniable and irreversible, but whether it becomes a crisis or an opportunity depends on policy adaptation, social reform, and strategic vision. In a post-growth world, quality may trump quantity, as other nations also grapple with aging populations and falling fertility. Including South Korea, Germany, and even the United States, China may not be alone, but rather a pioneer. Rather than sounding the death knell of China's rise, depopulation could usher in a new era of intelligent, human-centered development. Far from being a demographic time bomb, it may be the quiet beginning of a different, but no less powerful, trajectory. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope, so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly, clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again, its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.